Hi everybody, today we're going to be reviewing the use of the tense called the present perfect. When is it used? When a time period is not complete, such as this morning, today, this afternoon. It is used. For example, John hasn't called today. It is only 4 o'clock. I can express this situation with present perfect because today is not over, okay? And I'm still waiting for this to happen. It can also be used for an action or event that happened one or more times at an indefinite time in the past. For example, I have read that book 3 times. I am not mentioning when I read it. When were those 3 times? I'm just saying that I have done this action or I have repeated this action 3 times. And it can happen again. I can read the book again whenever I want. Another way or another moment in which we can use the present perfect is when the time of the past action is not known or important, but the result of the action is. What does that mean? I just don't know when I did an action, when I perform an action, and that is not important. The time is not important, but the action itself is. For example, I have washed the dishes. What is important here is that the dishes are washed now. How to construct sentences in present perfect? Okay, we're going to be using have and has as auxiliaries plus the past participle form of the verb. Okay, I need you to keep this in mind. Have and has are not working as verbs in this sentence. They are just helpers. Helpers of the verbs that are in past participle. Okay? If you remember the beautiful list of verbs that we always give you, right? We have on the first column present, the verbs in present, on the second column the verbs in past, and on the third column the verbs in past participle. Those are the ones that we're going to be using here. We have a couple of examples. The first one, my brother has made 3 cakes this week. When I make reference to she, he, or it, I'm going to be using has. The second example, I haven't traveled in 3 months. When I use they, we, use, or I use the auxiliary have. Notice that if I want to make the sentence negative, what I do is to add a not to the auxiliaries to have and to has. Little reminder at this point, don't forget to use verbs in past participle. Past tense and past participle is not the same, okay? You will notice that some verbs are going to be the same, okay? But not all of them, okay? Actually, the majority of them change, okay? So it's important that you double check the list of verbs and review the past participle form of them, okay? Here you have some examples. The past participle form of do is done. The past participle form of have is had. The past participle form of speak is spoken. How to construct yes/no questions? Very simple. We already studied this structure, right? So what we are going to do is to use the auxiliaries to make these questions. That's why we have auxiliaries. That's why we have helpers. And if you remember, those helpers are have and has. So what we are going to do is to move have and has to the beginning of the sentence, and I will leave the rest in the same way I have it, okay? So here we have and has plus the subject plus the past participle form of the sentence plus a complement. Example, have you eaten a snake before? Yes, I have. In a short form, you can answer in that way, or you can say, yes, I have eaten a snake before. Or, no, I haven't. eaten the snake before, that is the long answer, or no, I haven't will be the short one. Another example, has he had a girlfriend in high school? Yes, he has, short way. Yes, he has had a girlfriend here, long answer. No, he hasn't, short way. No, he hasn't had a girlfriend here, long answer. How are double H questions made? Remember double H words? What, when, where, how, right? Okay. So with these information questions, it is important to know them because sometimes we just ask for a specific information from a piece of text or just a sentence. This is the way. We have the double H word you need plus have or has plus the subject of the sentence plus the past participle form of the verb plus a complement. Example, what has happened this week? A lot of things have happened this week. Or, what have they found? They have found a lot of money. Look that they have the same structure, both sentences, okay? So it's just a matter of being careful and see what we need to ask. As I mentioned before, when we use the present perfect, we don't focus on the time, we focus on the action, okay? Basically, we just don't care about when an action happened, just on which is the action, okay? Or which is the result of the action. Even though there are some words that can help us to give an idea when something happened, okay? And these are the adverbs, the following adverbs. The first one, already. We have already seen the movie. That means in the past, I watched that movie. At some point in the past, I watched it. Ever and never, have you ever read that book? No, I have never read it. If ever is mostly used, mostly no, it's used in questions, okay? When I want to know if this is the first time for someone performing an action. And never, if I answer with that, it means that not even one time in your life you have performed this action. Then we have recently and lately, both means the same. We have an example, have you slept well recently? Okay, the word is very similar to Spanish and it makes reference to something very close, right? Not like that, not something that happened or just happened, okay? Then we have just, the plane has just landed. Okay, when I hear just, it means that maybe a couple of minutes ago or a couple of hours ago or a couple of seconds ago, this action happened or this action was performed. Then we have still, she still hasn't bought the dress. Okay, that still is like to say, okay, by now you should have done that. It's like when your mom asks you to make your bed and she goes to your room, probably she's gonna say, you still hasn't made your bed, okay? And then finally we have yet. Okay, very important. Yet, it's a adverb, or it's an adverb that can only be used in negative sentences, and we're gonna place it at the end of the sentence, okay? Example, he hasn't done the homework yet means is not done. The action hasn't been performed, okay? So these are just some of samples of words that you can use instead of mentioning the time that that an action was performed. For and since, two popular words in present perfect. What do we use them for? Okay, for, if I want to mention the amount of time that an action was performed, such as numbers of hours, days, month, years. For example, the lion has been sick for 3 days, for 3 months, for 2 hours. Okay? And then we have since. with a specific time in the past, such as day, month, date, time of the day. What do I mean with that? Okay, it means that I am going to mention the period of time when an action started. Okay, example, he has been absent since Tuesday. Look that I am, if I want to say the number of hours, as I said before, number of hours, days, and months, or years, numbers, so I use for. But if I want to mention the period of time, so I'm gonna be using since. Tuesday is a period of time. Summer is a period of time. April or any month is a period of time. And that's all about grammar today, guys. Thank you so much for watching.